Hi guys, welcome to another retrospective. Today we're on episode 5. We'll be looking at another sort of cult classic, much like Killer 7. In fact, it's by the same director, Suda51. Originally released in 2008 in most of the world, and again in 2011 in HD, this game is one of those gems that can be found within heaps of shovelware released on its system. It's my go-to game when people say the Wii is for kids. As the title says, it's No More Heroes. One of the most bombastically outrageous titles to be released. I mean, watch this cutscene and tell me it's not cool.
Fuckhead!
2007 was a great year for gaming. We received Halo 3, Super Mario Galaxy, Metroid Prime 3, and right at the end of the year in Japan, we saw the release of No More Heroes. Of course, the game was released in 2008 in the rest of the world. In 2008, we received Castle Crashers and Metal Gear Solid 4. Comparing the releases of both years, No More Heroes still reigns supreme against these mostly legendary titles. So what makes it so enjoyable? How can it possibly stand up to Hideo Kojima's masterful story writing, or Super Mario Galaxy's acclaimed level design? Well, in a lot of ways. It's not groundbreaking in any field, but because it is so different to what appeared around the late 2000s, it makes itself more recognizable. To me, it seems that developers are scared of trying something different. And when they do, it's still not quite there. Something about creating a unique experience that is really, by definition, unique, is apparently something quite difficult to master, but not for Suda51. To put it simply, for those who haven't played it, No More Heroes is a 3D, third-person beat-em-up, or action game, that relies heavily on hyperbole through its story and theming, and it takes the concept of room-by-room or screen-by-screen beat-em-up gameplay seen in games such as Streets of Rage, and converts them into 3D. Now then, I've upsold No More Heroes enough, but the game is not perfect. There are some glaring issues that I will address in due time. The game opens up with an immediate fourth wall break, with Travis stating that he knows gamers don't have a lot of patience, according to the video store owner Bishop. This is a general theme with No More Heroes. It isn't afraid to break the fourth wall wherever it can. Anyway, Travis explains his predicament. He's broke because he met a girl at a bar the previous night. This girl? Sylvia Crystal, the leader of the UAA, or United Assassins Association. She promises to help Travis get even with his apparently failed relationship, but I'll get back to her soon. So, Travis gets himself a job to literally murder someone. Unfortunately, this ropes him into Sylvia's association as the 11th best hitman. Travis, naturally, wants to reach number 1 and will do anything to reach it, with another fourth wall break at the end of the opening cutscene. For the most part, the plot follows a general format, at least until the final few boss fights. Information about the boss and where to find him, find the boss, and they reveal their motives and character a little more, defeat the boss and watch as they give Travis more exposition on themselves. It's pretty formulaic, but because each boss is so different, the fact that the player follows a general theme becomes a non-issue. In total there are 10 boss fights: Death Metal, Dr. Peace, Shinobu, Destroy Man, my personal favourite, Holly Summers, Let's Shake, Harvey Moisenovich Wolodarski, Speedbuster, Bad Girl, and finally Darkstar. I'll review each of them in time, because they all deserve their own spotlight. Now, I'm about to spoil something quite major within the story, so if you don't want to get spoilers, I'm going to put a timestamp in this video, feel free to click it. Otherwise, watch on. You've been warned. 3, 2, 1. Along the way, Travis will encounter a mysterious Irish gentleman by the name of Henry Cooldown. He will snatch the 5th ranked boss off of Travis, which annoys him to no end, stating,
I don't know who you are or what you want, Sir Henry. Where are your manners? That was my kill, you naughty boy!
He wields a beam katana, similar to Travis, and this raises questions as to his being there. Apparently, he has something against Travis, because he is immediately hostile and the two prepare to engage. But, in the nick of time, Sylvia steps in to break the two up, and just like that, he's gone. But that won't be the last time we see him. The first way that the player can earn money is through doing part-time jobs around the city of Santa Destroy. These generally include mowing grass, collecting coconuts and pumping petrol, to name a few. They're low paying, but are required to unlock higher paying assassination jobs sponsored by the UAA itself. For minigames, they are all extremely simple, but unique. They may only use 1 or 2 buttons at most, but the way they are combined makes them feel different to one another, so it keeps the player from getting bored repeating the same game with another coat of paint. The only problem with these minigames is the weird clunkiness. Obviously, it didn't take long to make these, and that has resulted in some of the games either controlling oddly or just not working. The mowing game has this large turning circle that is disjointed from the character's capsule, which means that the task at hand has been crippled. And the Scorpion collection game has such specific collision models to enable the player to pick them up, that you end up getting stung more times than picking one up. As an essential part of the game, it seems like not a long time was spent on them. UAA contracts are higher paying jobs than part-time jobs, and follow the same format as the base game. Most of them are a race against the clock to kill targets. The player is rewarded with a certain amount of money based on each kill, which differs slightly per game. I would recommend that anybody do these instead of part-time jobs, as they will raise money faster and with more enjoyment. Personally, I go with the Armed Hoods minigame, because this one raises I think 7,000 per kill, which results in quite a lot of money after you've finished if you get a gold medal. Right, this is the moment we've all been waiting for, a discussion and analysis of the boss fights. Death Metal is an ex-punk rock star with a generally mundane view on life. Travis meets him at his mansion and the two discuss paradise, with them having opposite ideas of what it means. Travis is immediately cocky and overconfident in his abilities, compared to Death Metal, who is sure of where he stands with his power. This is most likely due to Travis only just starting his career as an assassin, whereas Death Metal has managed to attain the 10th rank. Mechanically, his fight focuses on his oversized katana and his ability to create clones of himself. It's a sword v sword fight, which is understandable considering it's the first boss fight, and changing the mechanics for this may confuse the player, as they will have been growing accustomed to the fighting through the level that preceded it. For a first boss, it's surprising that he's one of the cooler ones. Moving on, we've got Dr. Peace, a corrupt detective who has a soft spot for jazz singing. His arena is an American football stadium. This is the boss that reveals to Travis that his entry fees are going down the drain to pay for elitist meals and special arrangements, to his annoyance. This time, the fighting mechanics have changed drastically. Dr. Peace will stand in the middle of the field and use his 2 guns to shoot at Travis, and the player must make their way up to him. He has a special move in which he will shoot a stronger round at Travis, causing him to fly away from the centre and need to recover ground, all while taking off a grand portion of health. Personally, although the theming of his character is good, I don't like the boss fight too much. Once you get past the power shot, it's extremely easy and doesn't have that sick sword on sword action like Death Metal. Rank number 8 is Shinobu, a key character somewhat. She is a schoolgirl trying to conceal her identity as an assassin. When she sees Travis's beam katana, she is enraged, as she believes that Travis killed her father. Her boss fight is in a closed-off, abandoned gym, which really restricts the player's mobility. This is the opposite for Shinobu, who can jump around and off pillars and do crazy moves from different angles. She has a ranged attack like Dr. Peace, but it is much slower, and she will announce it beforehand, making it easier to dodge. This fight combines elements from the 2 previous to test the player's ability to handle them both. I said that Shinobu was a key character. At the end of the fight, Travis lets her live. He claims it's because she's too young, and that when she's older, if she still desires vengeance, she can find Travis anytime. Now we're moving on to Destroy Man, the first comic relief boss in the game, and he's such a good character. By day, he delivers packages. By night, and by extension this boss fight, he transforms into the superhero known as
Mr. Cosplay.
No, Destroy Man. He's very into his superpowers, and they range from beams, punches, and even a crotch laser thing. His fight is quite mixed, and he throws in some curveballs too, such as him flying around on a string like a real crime fighter. He blocks a lot of the time, or just doesn't take damage, but he often taunts the player. This is a theme with some of the bosses. They may take no damage whatsoever until they taunt the player, giving them an opening to deal a combo. The arena you are fighting in offers plenty of cover from his beam attacks, but personally, I find it better just to circle him, keeping a slight distance, allowing you to move in for a bigger attack, rather than wait behind cover. When he is defeated, Travis executes him in a very elegant way. Oh yes. Okay, so rank number 6 is Holly Summers, my least favourite. From what I can tell, she's an ex-military woman who lost her legs somewhere and is generally pessimistic on life. While the level that precedes her boss fight is actually one of my favourites, its setting is good, and it packs in a few slapstick jokes that don't fail to make me at least smile every time I see them. Her boss fight feels uninspired compared to the rest. It may be because her fight is directly after the completely absurd Destroy Man, but considering her character theming, I suppose that having a more toned down boss works, as she is designed to function as a grounding experience for Travis, proving to him that these fights aren't a game, they involve real people that have their own lives, knocking his ego down a few pegs. Let's Shake is the 5th ranked assassin. The level that precedes him is interesting in that it is a single linear corridor. Now, the levels within No More Heroes are linear, with enemies to defeat in each new area, but Let's Shake's level is literally a straight line with no deviating paths, but more on the level design later. Let's Shake is revealed when Travis comes across him and a massive machine in a desert motorway. He's got that whole crazy German scientist vibe down, but crossed with a punk rocker, even sporting an electric guitar on his back. He starts his machine's countdown cycle, lowers his Virtual Boy goggles, and then he's killed. Not by Travis. Boss fight over. Harvey is a magician who is also rank number 4 in... No, I'm kidding. Let's Shake's killer is revealed to be none other than Henry Cooldown that I mentioned at the start. The two share some banter, with Travis calling him things like naughty boy and mocking his Irish accent, and then Mr. Sir Henry. But just like that, he's gone. Harvey is an assassin masquerading as a magician. From what it seems, he is a natural performer, even managing to stay in character after accidentally mentioning Travis's dead parents. Either way, Harvey's fight is definitely inventive. Aside from the main boss mechanics we've already been familiarised with, i.e. beat him to a pulp when you game an opening, the fight offers more magical camera shenanigans. By this I mean that Harvey can turn the camera 180 degrees, forcing the player to fight upside down. This is a really disorienting experience and will give Harvey the upper hand. Thankfully, it only lasts for about 30 seconds. He will also use birds and 2 long poles as his methods of attacking Travis, with his power move being a multiple rotation spin attack on the stage. One annoyance is an instant kill move that Harvey possesses. If the player is touched by a stage light once it is active, they will become trapped in one of those magician's escape boxes. They will have to press buttons or shake the Wiimote around dependent on what appears on screen. If they don't, boom, they're dead and the fight restarts. Generally, I think that one-shot kill moves, even if they're avoidable, ruin boss fights because they allow them to get cheap shots in when they don't deserve them. When Travis finally beats him, he will cut Harvey's eyes out, blinding him and exposing his fear of the dark, whilst his assistants will tie him to a big machine that will cut him in 2. So, we're into the top 3 now, and the oldest UAA member in the game. Speedbuster is described as a witch of sorts, not the showy magician type that Harvey was, but more of a black witch dealing in darker magics. Whether this is true or not will be left up to speculation. The level will open with a cutscene of Thunder Ryu, one of the people that Travis idolizes, and the person that the player can go to train outside of the main game, fighting Speedbuster. Unfortunately, Travis's cat, Jean, that escaped before the level began, distracts him and leads to his death, giving Travis a personal grudge against the 3rd ranked assassin. Speedbuster's fight is again unique in that it actually lacks a fight. In fact, all the player is required to do is make their way up a straight path, avoiding massive laser blasts by hiding in broken buildings that will have people to kill in them, and repeat until they reach Speedbuster herself. It's interesting because it combines the level and the boss into one. It's a good change of pace from the standard formula, and when compared to the first few boss fights, it shows that Suda51 felt comfortable breaking off from the norm, because the first 4 bosses or so, while unique compared to each other, were relatively the same, as they were designed to ease the player into the game. The fight also includes a puzzle, something unique to this fight. The player must knock down a power line to break a wall to progress to the end of the arena. A Speedbuster won't allow Travis to get any closer. It's different, and while not the greatest puzzle ever made, it's certainly something that fleshes out this fight even more. Rank number 2 is Bad Girl, a psychotic baseball fan who lives under the Destroy Stadium, the same place that Travis fought Dr. Peace. This is a straight up sword v sword fight, similar to the earlier bosses, but as with all the bosses in this game, it has its own quirks. What's kind of off-putting about the whole fight is the way that Bad Girl moves around. Typically, in No More Heroes, the bosses will either run towards the player or use range attacks frequently, but this boss just walks around slowly, sometimes not even in the direction of the player. This means that the player is forced to move upwards to her, uncertain of what she may do next. After a certain amount of damage, Bad Girl will light her bat on fire, which adds extra damage to the attacks and also lengthens the combos she can do, which makes the boss fight slightly harder. But, more importantly, and this is something I think everyone is guilty of the first time, is the fact that she faints on the battlefield. If the player chooses to get too close, they will be instantly killed. I mentioned earlier that I hated one-shot moves, but this is an exception, as the player has the choice to move to the boss, so it will be up to them and only because of them that they die. Finally, Bad Girl can bat people at Travis, which will spring to life and fight alongside her. They're about as strong as a regular enemy, but can be annoying all the same. It's worth mentioning, in the PAL version, the European version, most things are censored. Blood, beheadings, maiming, and everything that could be considered violent. And so are these guys. But, and this is a big but, I prefer this version of them. Their animations are disjointed and kind of unnerving, which adds to the sadistic nature of Bad Girl's character. This is the only thing that I would keep the same. I would remove all the other censors. So, we're finally here, at the number 1 spot. He finally meets the number 1 ranked assassin in the world, Darkstar. He's very clearly a Darth Vader reference and has the coolest weapon in the game, a giant purple dragon. But he is killed by Jean, Travis's ex-lover. She is also one other thing to Travis, but it's too terrible to speak of, so Jean literally speeds up the game to tell Travis. She's his half-sister, and that Travis wasn't aware of. Ew. The fight itself is pretty cool and iconic, I think. It takes place inside Darkstar's massive purple dragon, which forms a sort of ring. Jean prefers to fight in a sort of judo-esque way. She's very full on with her attacks, never really giving the player any time to adjust or become comfortable. She avoids all of Travis's attacks, not in the same way as the other bosses who block, but actually avoids them altogether. The only chance the player will have to hit Jean is when she leaves tiny openings in her attack patterns, otherwise she will decimate the health bar. As the fight furthers, Jean will decrease the size of the arena and increase the amount of attacks she can do, upping the difficulty. Some of her combos can be hard to dodge, but if the player times everything correctly then it should be no problem. When the player does eventually defeat her, the end boss cutscene will play, but from a losing angle. But, rank 8, Shinobu comes to the rescue by cutting off her arm. Travis then ends her life with one final word, and that's a wrap. Oh yeah, remember when I said there were 10 bosses? Yes, there is a hidden fight at the end of the game that becomes available if the player has the most powerful beam katana. The fight is straight to it, no level beforehand. It takes place outside of the No More Heroes motel. Henry's moveset relies on speed and across the map sliding attacks. Unfortunately for him, he is left open for multiple hits after pretty much all of his attacks. A step down in difficulty from Jean, who dodges everything. When the player finally defeats him, Henry reveals that he is actually Sylvia's wife, much to Travis's surprise, but also that he is Travis's twin brother as well. To which Travis remarks, "Why would you bring something like this up at the end of the game?" The two charge down a road and Travis decides he wants to find that exit they call Paradise. The two of them jump towards each other, ending the game. I know it's been a long video, but I just want to briefly mention the level design. The level design within No More Heroes can generally be described as room-by-room combat with a set of enemies in each section, that when defeated will allow progression to the next area. The enemies will get stronger as the game progresses, and their weapons will change to indicate this. Some will wield beam katanas, implying they are more powerful and need to be engaged quickly. Most of the levels follow this structure, but on Shinobu, Harvey, Speedbuster, Bad Girl and Darkstar's levels, there are modifications to bring out some flavour. Shinobu features a section where a fire alarm is triggered, damaging Travis's weapon and electrocuting him. Harvey's features a classic shoot-'em-up style game themed after the in-game anime Bizarre Jerry 5, and so on. No More Heroes is something worth noting. It's a game that is my go-to example on why the Wii isn't just for kids, as so many claim. It shows that no matter how outrageous someone's ideas may sound, they can be cool and work within certain contexts. I bet that Suda51 during development said without pause, "Wouldn't it be cool if we made a game about a guy who is an assassin and has a lightsaber and does wrestling moves and has a cat and rides a bike?" or something similar, which was translated into the bombastic experience that was No More Heroes. From first playthrough to last, I was hooked. The game is easily one of my personal favourite. It ranks number 3 on a list I'm making. It may not have sold well upon first release, but it sticks in my mind when I think of good games. No More Heroes definitely deserves its score of 9 out of 10 and the essential rating. Go on and check this one out. It's dirt cheap and worth your time. Thanks for watching this episode, and I'll catch you guys next time. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, as more content is on its way. The previous video is on Halo 3 ODST, a game that fans of the neo-noir genre should consider essential exposure. Anyway, see you next time.